soccer analysis to yourself.
But yeah, you can park the bus.
Oh, it's not bad. It's not a bad idea. Park the bus. How about that? You park the bus. You get what that means. You park the bus in the net.
At Levitard Show on Instagram and Twitter. I mean, your flag of ignorance, your only soccer take for 15 years at the height of ignorance has been that one. It's just soccer's dead.
I've been right for a decade and a half.
But this is a great thing about Sugats. Even though he doesn't know the sport, he's still looking to blame the coach and get them fired.
Yeah. And the refs. And the refs.
It's a terrible job. If you had an offensive strategy up 3-0 and you just had to, win game 2, you didn't have to win it. Just don't lose by more than 3 goals. That is a terrible. Everyone needs to be playing defense.
Are you of the opinion? Do you believe that if they put 11 people in the goal and only one of them can use their hands and they weren't doing anything else, that game would be like 100-0? You realize that they would just keep pelting the net.
No, it wouldn't. Jose Mourinho's won several trophies with that exact same strategy.
Boom!
Do you need to tell them which is your goalie? Because then they don't know who can and can't use that.
He wears the sweater, right?
They have to wear a different
sweater. That's right. It's a Christmas sweater. That's right.
Greece won Euro just doing that and hoping for one counterattack.
At Levitard Show, Instagram and Twitter. What do we have on the polls today? It felt like we had a lot of them.
The Twitter poll is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Dollar Shave Club delivers the products you use to look, feel, and smell your best right to your door. Plus, with their handsome discount, the more you buy, the more you save. Go to dollarshaveclub.com/Dan. Very special offer. Is the demolition of Lockhart Stadium the most pathetic ceremony in the history of ceremonies? 96% of the audience said yes.
The stage is so small. The stage is 5 people huddled on it like rats on a sinking ship.
2, 1.
That guy, man. Someone check on him.
When there's only 6 people, the one doesn't have to be that aggressive. You could just say 1.
Is finding 3 peanuts in a shell one of the most magical things to happen in the world? 80% of the audience said yes. Is game 6.5 the greatest thing in sports? 62% of the audience said yes. Is the key to life a small group of friends? 83% of the audience said yes. Which do you use more often? A dog in the fight or a horse in the race? 63% of the audience said a dog in the fight. Do we need to get back to the quarterback wearing a headband? 84% of the audience said yes. As the no-hitter stopped mattering. 64% of the audience said yes. I'm trying, Mike.
You just heard the Dan Levitar Show on ESPN Radio.
All right, bye.
Stugats here. The countdown to Mother's Day is quickly ticking away, and if you haven't already picked out the perfect 1-800-Flowers bouquet for Mom, you have to act fast. Beat the Mother's Day rush by visiting 1-800-Flowers.com today. Right now, 1-800-Flowers will give you 24 multicolored roses plus a free vase for only $29.99. Now, that's an offer that Mom would approve of. With a bright mix of premium roses and a rainbow of colors, these blooms are guaranteed to show Mom just how much she's loved. Multicolored roses are the perfect way to surprise all the moms in your life. Roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak from premier farms and shipped overnight to ensure freshness. 24 multicolored roses plus a free vase for just $29.99 is an amazing offer. But hurry, it expires Thursday. Trust 1-800-Flowers to make Mom feel loved. To order 24 multicolored roses plus a free vase for just $29.99. And for details, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code Dan. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code Dan. Do it today.
This is the Morning Rush.
Don is in Greenwood. What's going on, Don?
There's huge advantage to playing Arkansas State.
What's the advantage? Yeah. Give me the advantage.
Number one, it ends totally the Little Rock debate.
Who cares?
What
debate?
And see, that's an opinion. Who cares? I care.
About Little Rock? What are you talking about? What does Little Rock have to do with it?
It ends the debate on who plays there. It ends it.
There is no debate.
There's no more. Yes, there is. There's always a debate on whether we should play there or whether we should.
But how does that end the
whether
debate?
they get a conference game or whether they get a practice game or whatever. It ends the debate. It makes it Arkansas State. It's over.
So hold on. So you're saying Arkansas and Arkansas State would play in Little Rock and that ends the debate? Or what are you talking about?
Absolutely. That's exactly where they would play. That's exactly where they would play. They would play in Arkansas State and it would be done. It's coming.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
You're born amazing. And at Baptist Health, we want to keep you that way. In fact, that's our mission. To not only provide the most skilled doctors and nurses to heal you from sickness or injury and comprehensive care to support your recovery, but also to be your guide to health. Also, you can keep on inspiring, keep on reaching, and keep on amazing. For the care that keeps you amazing, visit Baptist-Health.com.
Looking for a new home course this golf season? Eagle Crest Golf Course has memberships as low as $83 a month for Zoysia fairways and bent grass greens. Is your whole golf group ready to join Eagle Crest? 4 new members can join for just $1,150 each for the entire year. Individual annual memberships are just $1,250 a year. Call Eagle Crest Golf Course right now for all the details. 632-8857. That's 632-8857. Eagle Crest Golf Course, Highway 64, just east of Alma. 0% financing and huge spring savings on new Buicks at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. The 2019 Buick Encore, only $18,999 or just $299 a month. That's a 2019 for under $19,000. Or get 0% financing for 72 months on most Buick models, including the Cascada, Encore, Regal, LaCrosse, and Envision. Spring into savings at the #1 Buick dealer in the country, Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Hi, I'm Eddie Lee Herndon with United Way. Did you know that $1 can provide 5 meals to hungry families in our area? Every dollar given to Arvest Bank's Million Meals campaign does just that. Now through June 1st, you can make a monetary contribution or donate non-perishable food items at any of the Arvest locations in our area. Contributions stay local and benefit the River Valley Regional Food Bank, the Community Service Clearinghouse, and United Way of Fort Smith area. Arkansas and Oklahoma both rank among the top 10 nationally in food insecurity. Please visit arvest.com/million meals. Arvest makes no representation that any contribution is tax deductible. Please consult your tax advisor.
Join ESPN 95.3 live from 9 to noon this Saturday, May 11th for Bush Machine and Tractor's first annual Customer Appreciation Weekend and Open House. They will have the best deals of the year on new Branson, TYM, and Massey Ferguson tractors, along with Gravely zero-turn mowers. Any parts purchases or scheduled maintenance on Saturday will receive a 10% discount, and they will be providing the best barbecue around for lunch with some surprise giveaways. Bush Machine and Tractors, 7301 0 Street, Fort Smith.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Unsettled weather over the next couple of days with occasional showers and storms today. Our high temperatures in the middle to upper 70s. We are looking at widespread showers and thunderstorms tonight, an overnight low in the low to mid 60s, and scattered showers, a few storms for Thursday with our high temperatures low 70s north, upper 70s south. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by OG&E Weatherization Program for Arkansas customers with homes at least 10 years old. Call 1-800-272-9741 for details or log on at OGE.com.
KERX, Paris, Fort Smith.
2 seconds, 1 second, he lets fly with a shot.
From the Bush and Bushlight Studios, this is ESPN 95.3.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas! I love everything here! Give me that thing here! Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry. You know, anything travels that far, ought to have a damn stewardess on it, don't you think?
With Phil Elson.
Bill, I think you do a spectacular job.
And Tye Richardson.
Tye, I love the way you talk, buddy.
Pack your bags, load them up, gas the car, and raise that bright red flag to the skies. 423 miles away, the Emerald City awaits. The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Hey, hold on, it's almost halftime.
Yesterday on halftime during our Get Off My Lawn segment, I tried to do my part, a little bit of my part, because I don't believe I've got a part in what happens on the field, no matter what's going on in the booth. But I tried to, what was the term I used? Exercise the demon of the stupid little possum.
No,
the
you
stupid
said
rally possum.
You said exorcist of like it.
Well, because it's been a demon. I mean,
Yeah.
that rally possum has been a demon for Arkansas baseball for the last 3 years. Really, I mean, LSU has been a demon tiger for Arkansas baseball for a long, long time now. So I tried to do my part as much as I possibly can do without going on the field, grabbing a bat and a ball and a glove and striking out and making 15 errors and basically losing you the game. I tried to do my part yesterday by exercising the stupid rally possum. So I think I've done that. All right. So that's the idea that I'm trying to get rid of a little bit of the thing. I keep referring to it as the thing. I've been asked a lot. What is it about LSU and Arkansas over these last 14 seasons that Arkansas can't seem to figure them out, as good as the Razorbacks have been baseball-wise? And part of my answer has been, I mean, just look, LSU might have been better in a lot of those cases. Remember, this is essentially one of the blue bloods of college baseball with 7 national championships and a lot of major league talent. So that's got to stand for something. The fact that they've had just as good of talent, if not better, in a lot of cases than Arkansas. And I thought I'd take a little umbrage with that last year. I think Arkansas was overall a better team. I have a feeling that this year it's about the same thing. So then there's the other thing, and it's the thing that you can't quite define. Why some people might call it a curse, others might call it bad luck, others might just call it, as I have been doing, saying it's the thing that LSU has had over Arkansas. It's what Texas A&M has had over Arkansas in football for these last 7 years. It's a different thing that A&M has had than Alabama has had over Arkansas. I don't feel that that's a thing. I think when you're talking about the quote-unquote thing that Bama football has over Arkansas is like it's apples and oranges comparing the two programs sometimes. With A&M, I don't know. There's a couple of things here and there that make you think something doesn't quite equate to one team just being this much better than another team for 7 straight years. And so the possum is kind of like a symbol of that thing. So I feel like I did a little bit. I did my part. I did our part, Ty. I hope that I did a little bit to sacrifice the demon of the rally possum to get that thing out of the way.
And I don't know if you mentioned this yesterday, but I didn't realize it was the anniversary of that happening 3 years ago.
And I was even looking at the score page. Remember, I was like, this happened in the 5th inning. The thing came out then. I didn't even look at the date.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
It was a 3-year anniversary, so I saw Peter Burns talking about it on the SEC Network, which is just wild that happened. It was back in 2016 in Alex Box, correct? And they were down 9-1, and we don't have to go into it deep.
We don't need to go in. Yeah. We already did that yesterday.
Because,
Why do it again?
Because it didn't happen. And Phil's not going to mention it on the. I'm trying to get Phil not to mention it on the baseball broadcast this weekend, even though it will come up. But
no, that was the whole point to bringing it up yesterday. In Get Off My Lawn is to say, well, I'm not even going to mention a rally possum on the radio broadcast on the IMG network. We'll just get it out of the way now.
It can do nothing but harm. But yeah, it's a big weekend, man. I know we were just talking before we went on. You want to possibly get me up there in the booth. I think Tommy's going to go to the game on Thursday, and I'll be able to attend on Friday. I got to go to my buddy's graduation on Saturday, but I will be up there for that Friday game, and that's going to be a pivotal one. And really, all 3 of them are going to be pivotal games, but it's gonna be exciting. And I know I'm usually the one that comes up with the rundown, but you kind of took charge on this one, and I was happy because the question you had and you posed is, what would a series win over LSU do for Arkansas baseball? And obviously, you can attest to that more than I can.
Well, and that's my point of getting into. So I'm getting past the whole thing, the whole possum thing, into actual reasons why Arkansas can win this series coming up this weekend against LSU. And at the top of the list for me is that right now Arkansas is just a more settled team, and part of that is health. I mean, the Hogs have been dealing with some nicks and cuts, so to speak. Nothing major. Nobody has missed the season because of injury or missed a large chunk of the season because of injury. Matt Goodhart misses 3 games with a jammed shoulder. He's back, looks just as good as he was before he dove into the base awkwardly against Tennessee. Cody Scroggins misses a couple of weeks with a little flare-up in his arm and comes back and looks just fine against Kentucky. Jacob Kostiachak, same thing. He's back and throwing 95, 96. That's what your injuries have been. That's it. You lost Caleb Bolden, who was probably going to be in the starting rotation, but you lost him in the fall. So you were able to plan for that already. So injuries have not beset Arkansas anywhere close to the way that injuries have beset the LSU Tigers. And that's not just on the pitching staff, but this is also a team in LSU that's had some of their star players and starters that have been on the bench for a couple of weeks because of injuries. And Arkansas has not had any position players miss much time. Only, really, it's just been Goodhart with those 3 games. The starting rotation for LSU has been completely remade because of injuries. And even some of the pitchers that have stepped into starting roles that have been good, like freshman Cole Henry, who was the co-freshman of the week in the SEC along with Connor Nolan a couple of weeks ago. Well, as Nolan's continued to pitch, Henry, who threw 5 2/3 innings and struck out 12 batters in the game that I'm referring to, he hasn't pitched since then, and he's not even joining them on the trip. So it's caused them a lot of issues in the starting rotation from the start of the season all the way through the middle of the season. And when you are having trouble with your starting rotation, I think anywhere in the game of baseball, whether you're talking college ball, whether you're talking high school ball, Major League Baseball, what a starting rotation does is at least set the bar for the team or the baseline for the team. Helps you settle everybody else into their role. Lets the batters do their thing without feeling too much pressure. Lets the fielders do their thing, the same idea. And the bullpen has pitchers in relief that are settling into roles. You see that with Arkansas right now. And that's because Isaiah Campbell's been your ace all year long. There hasn't been one specific pitcher that LSU can count on to do what you've gotten from even pitchers that they've had in previous years, Alex Lang and Colin Poche and so on and so forth. Well, that's what you're getting from Isaiah Campbell this year. And from that point on, it feels like everything with LSU is a little bit of shaking under the ground. There's been some holes in the lineup. I mean, they've got a couple of regulars, Hal Hughes, Brock Mathis. Hughes is an infielder. Mathis is one of the 2 catchers that have had most of the plays. That they've looked like almost automatic outs in the lineup, both hitting under 200. There's nobody that's having that kind of lack of success in the Arkansas lineup where you have an automatic hole or 2 in the lineup. So it's just all right. I feel like I'm over the possum and over the thing that LSU has had over Arkansas, but I see concrete reasons why Arkansas is just in a better position to play this weekend than LSU. And, oh, by the way, they didn't even mention where the games are being played, in Fayetteville, where you've been pretty darn close to unbeatable in 2 years.
Let's talk with the pitching first, because you mentioned Cole Henry not making the trip this weekend. Also, Jaden Hill, an Arkansas kid originally from Ashdown, went to Ashdown High School. He's had some success, but he's been out since February. They don't have any left-handers on the staff. The one guy they had is out for the season. Is that the biggest discrepancy right now in the talent gap between Arkansas and LSU is the pitching?
I think so. I think depth is also part of it. I mean, because of the injuries that LSU has dealt with, their depth has been tested, and so you end up with freshmen in roles that they might not necessarily be ready for. I mean, you could say the same thing for Arkansas too, but really at the start of the season, I think both Dave Van Horn and pitching coach Matt Hobbs thought that both Connor Nolan and Patrick Wicklander would be weekend guys. I don't think that's necessarily the case for LSU and looking at a Landon Marceau, who was forced into a starting role this weekend against Ole Miss and got knocked around on Sunday, and he got an ERA over 7. So I think that's part of it. It's very odd to see any pitching staff at any level of baseball without a left-hander. And I mean, theoretically, because Arkansas bats so many lefties in the lineup, I mean, you do have a couple of switch hitters, but other than Casey Martin, most of your best hitters are left-handed.
And they're like 15. I think Matt Jones of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette put this stat out that they're like 59 points better against just right-handed batters. So the fact that you're playing at home, that you're so hot, and the fact that you don't have to face any left-handed pitching, there just seems to be a lot of things going your way. I mean, really the only thing, Phil, that's not in your favor in this matchup is the recent history. Outside of that, I mean, you got better pitching. You're less injury-prone at this point in the year. You're hotter than LSU. I know they just came off a series win against Ole Miss this past weekend. But
they dropped 2 out of 3.
Oh, they dropped 2 out of 3. Okay.
Right. Yeah,
so
they had a crazy. You'll hear me refer sometimes to the crazy SEC rubber matches. They had a crazy Sunday rubber match where they scored 6 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning with 2 outs, 3 consecutive homers with 2 outs to force extra innings against the Ole Miss closer Parker Caracci, and then go on to lose 19-15.
That's a tough way to lose.
Right, and that's that's exactly what you're saying. Dave Van Horn pointed out to me in the airport after Arkansas's split with Kentucky that that's a huge swing emotionally for your next opponent. And then, oh, by the way, what happens last night for LSU? They played Louisiana Tech and got pounded 12-1. So it's a midweek game, but still, I mean, this is now they're on a little bit of a downward slope emotionally, it would feel, just really starting with a great comeback and then a hard loss and then getting destroyed by an in-state school.
So Bubba came on the Morning Rush, and he talked about Arkansas's path to a super regional, and he said he feels pretty good about the chances if they go 3-3, and he feels like they're a lock if they go 4-2 down the stretch. Let's say you can win this series against LSU. You don't sweep, but you get the win. You go 2-1, and then you only get 1 in College Station and go 3-3. I think that's pretty decent odds. The way you've been playing, it's almost like you can't really say, oh, you've been playing so much better at home than you have on the road, because you honestly, as you've talked about, the improvement on the road compared to last season is light years ahead of what it was last year, the fact that you didn't win a single series on the road. So you feel pretty confident if you're able to get 2 out of 3 this weekend against LSU, even though Texas A&M is a decent baseball team. You feel pretty confident that you can at least get 1 of those wins, maybe even 2 next weekend. So I just think it's almost like there's all these things going towards Arkansas's way in this series this weekend, with the exception of the recent history. Fans are just, as you know, Arkansas fans are really just cautiously optimistic.
Easy for you to say.
Easy for me to say when it comes to picking, and it's not baseball, it's football, it's anything. Because anytime it seems they get on a streak or something out of the woodworks just comes out and it screws up everything.
Well, so, I mean, you still lost 22 of 28 to this same program, but, I mean, when it comes time to be able to get past the laundry, we're told sometimes as fans that we root for laundry, just the uniforms on the guys' backs. You got it right now. Arkansas's really has a great chance to get past the laundry of LSU, because right now you're in a better position than the Tigers are. You've had more success in this last season and a half, and it would feel a little bit like a statement. And so that bears into the question that's on our halftime poll today. What would a win this weekend for Arkansas over LSU? 2 out of 3 would be great. 3 in a row would be absolutely gorgeous, of course. But what would a series win over LSU mean for Arkansas baseball? And there's different contexts to look at. For one, it knocks LSU out of the division race. In fact, they're 3 games out. They can't be any worse than 3 games out before this series starts. And they're either going to be one. They're either, as the way I look at it, there's a potential that they could end up being 5 or 6 games back. So you have a chance to knock LSU out of the division race. The other 2 teams that really have a shot at you, and I know A&M is a shot, but at 4.5 games out, there's no margin for A&M to do anything worse than go 5-1 in their last 2 series. Now, they do go to Alabama this weekend, and Alabama has struggled, but it's baseball, and you never know. So, and then they play Arkansas, and I just don't see Arkansas getting swept in any situation in a 3-game series, no matter who it is they're playing right now. And then it becomes Ole Miss and Mississippi State. You have the tiebreak over Mississippi State. Ole Miss has the tiebreaker over Arkansas. They play this weekend at the New Dude in Starkville. And so one of those 2 teams is going to fall off as well. If you take care of business with LSU, you're going to have one of those 2 teams left, either Ole Miss or Mississippi State. Mississippi State hosts South Carolina. Ole Miss travels to Tennessee. So you end up probably with at least a 3-game lead, 3 games to go, and then all you got to do is win 1 against Texas A&M, and you're a division champion, and you're a top 8 national seed, and Hoover doesn't matter except to get some rest and find a good steak, and then you're playing at home for 2 weekends, hopefully, before you go to Omaha again.
And you brought one up the statistics that in the games under Dave Van Horn, Arkansas is 18-40 against LSU, and I think the more staggering statistic is the 1-9 record in the postseason, the 0-10 rubber matches. That just doesn't compute when you think Arkansas baseball, when you think Dave Van Horn, you think consistently winning, consistently producing wins. But in this one series, now there might be, I know they've struggled against Ole Miss recently in the last couple of years, but this one series, for whatever reason, it has just been painful over and over and over again.
And it goes deeper than also just the regular season series because, what did I just say about Hoover? It's about getting a nice place to eat and some rest.
Yeah.
Well, Arkansas has been knocked out of Hoover by LSU the last 2 years, which includes a chance at the first ever SEC tournament championship for Arkansas at the end of the 2017 season. So I thought, and LSU treats Hoover like it means something to them. They always have. And that's why they usually build the depth of pitching that they usually have. They don't have that depth of pitching right now. It's much different with all the injuries and ineffectiveness.
And I can't remember what SEC Network baseball analyst we had on. Was it Kyle Burke? Was it Aaron Burke? Who am I thinking of? We had on last week. Chris Burke. Sorry, Chris Burke. And I'm trying to recycle through my head real quick. And he talked about how this team is going to be really tough if they manage to get a super regional, if they can win out the regional and get to that. And again, SEC baseball, it's never easy to do, but you get a chance to host your rival this weekend and then go against a pretty salty Texas A&M, and you don't have to win the next 6 games. You just probably have to win 3, and you're a lock, as Bubba said, if you win 4. And then after that, you go to Hoover. It really doesn't matter, as you mentioned, what you do down there because you don't want to waste pitching, get tired arms and whatnot. Then you come back, get that regional, and there's a potential possibility of who you'd face, who we'll talk about later in the program, which would just be dynamite if that actually happened. But it sets up pretty well. I'm not going to say it's perfect like Vanderbilt down the stretch. They have a perfect setup to get to a super regional based on the competition they're going to face.
Yeah, they do. They've got Missouri. Although I'll tell you what, Missouri is going to be a regional team. Got a good pitching staff. I think they could surprise Vanderbilt in one of those ball games at least. I don't see Vanderbilt sweeping, although I know they've won 12 in a row. I know they're hot as anything. I know they've got the nation's leading home run hitter in J.J. Bleday. But there's something about Missouri that I think they can steal a win. And then Vandy goes to Kentucky. And, look, Kentucky's got a first-round guy in the rotation, too, in Zach Thompson. His stuff is pretty sick. If there's any – look, he pitched the last game of the series against Arkansas, so their bullpen was depleted by that point. He'll pitch the first game, I would hope, against Vanderbilt, although I don't trust Nick Mingione to make any, intelligent decisions like that, the head coach of Kentucky.
I thought that was odd that he was originally lined up for game 2. I could have been days rest, but yeah. So,
made no sense.
Yeah.
Made no sense. But a lot of the things Kentucky doesn't make sense either. It's okay. So, yeah, and then they go to Kentucky. So, you're a game back of Vanderbilt for the overall SEC tournament, SEC regular season championship. And that's nice, to get one if you can. But you got to just go for the division, worry about that, and let Vanderbilt do what they've got. Because they also have the if you end up tying with them, even though they have the tiebreaker, you're still co-champions in the regular season. We saw that last year in the West Division when Arkansas tied with Ole Miss. Ole Miss won the series, so they got a better seed. But there was a co-Western Division title for Arkansas last year. That's just a fact.
So with the Tigers coming in with baseball this week, and I think a question is kind of arisen out of the ashes that would you rather beat these guys in baseball, a team you haven't beaten a series since 2011, Kentucky in basketball, who you haven't been able to overcome since 2013, or A&M in football 2011. Now, Alabama is far and away the number one front runner of any of this argument, so I didn't even put that on the list because you hadn't beat them since
because it feels like the unattainable achievement.
It's 06. You hadn't beat
feels like the 1600 on the SAT.
Yeah, it's 06. You hadn't beat him since Saban got there, since he got there in 07. So that's just impossible. We're not going to put in. I would also say Texas in football is out of the equation because I still think it's not my generation's hate, but there's still such hatred for the Texas Longhorns on the football field. Baseball, it's close, but I still think LSU might edge it out just by a little bit. But I think the LSU baseball, the Texas A&M football, and probably I'd say the Kentucky basketball is a little ahead, but I think it is a very comparable hatred one to beat since the Texas A&M football, and it kind of lines up since you haven't beat either squad since 2011.
Right, and it also leads to the part of the other context I was getting at with what would a series win over LSU mean. So I explained what it means for the course of the regular season. win the series, and you're on the path to be a national seed still. We're exactly where you are now. Basically, you just got to do what you've been doing for the last month to 2 months. But then there's the overall, you take a step back, larger perspective. A win over LSU for an Arkansas team feels like a statement of where the program is compared to where LSU is. It's been since 2009 that LSU last won a national title. That's 10 years. They came close 2 years ago, but we know what close feels like, and it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like the real thing.
Do Arkansas fans know what close feels like, Phil?
Right.
Do they really? Okay.
I feel like Arkansas baseball is in a position where, it's tough to say where everybody stacks up in the SEC anyway, because, Florida's at a certain level that LSU had been at. Mississippi State and Arkansas about the same level for a long time. Both programs without the national title have come close in recent years. But this feels like it's an opportunity with the talent you have now, with a talent that stays for next year, with the recruiting momentum that Dave Van Horn and his coaching staff have built up, that you have an opportunity to almost make a statement to say, look, it's been your division. It's nice. It's been your league. You've got all this great history and everything, but it's time for Razorback baseball to overtake LSU baseball in the grand scheme of it. So that's also I think a little bit more of like an existential effect on your baseball program, and hopefully that's what we're talking about on Monday. All right, we'll step aside for a break. We come back on halftime. Here's what we got coming up today, real quick. Andy Hodges joining us at the bottom of this hour, our columnist from hitthatline.com. He is a very well-outspoken sports columnist who generates a lot of emotional opinions coming back, so that'll be fun. We've got Change My Mind and Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio in hour number 2. It's halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Hold on tight.
Missed a segment or interview? Check out the Halftime Pod at hitthatline.com.
Only 10% of collision repair shops achieve ICAR Gold Class status, the highest training level recognized in the industry. Evans Body Shop is proud to be one of them. We know the latest repair techniques, how to find hidden damage, and repair your car's critical safety features so they work properly again. We invest in training because we would never cut corners with your family's safety at stake, and neither should you. Get your vehicle repaired at Evans Body Shop, where your safety is our top priority. Evans Body Shop, 412 Gordon Avenue, Van Buren.
Where we meet the nicest people by accident.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
Every day, vegetables are ripped from the earth, sliced, diced, even something called julienne. But for just $5 a day, you can help. Get 2 Hardee's Original Roast Beef Sandwiches for just $5. Slow-cooked beef, hand-dipped in rich au jus, each prepared without harming a single vegetable. So come to Hardee's, get 2 Original Roast Beef Sandwiches, and save the veggies. Hardee's, because it tastes better. Available for a limited time after regular breakfast hours at participating restaurants. Tax not included. Price and participation may vary.
What are people saying about the Lynx at Chaffee Crossing? Number 1, it was by far the best barbecue I've had with great sides. Number 2, it was a great place to sit down and watch the game on TV while having your favorite drink or beer. Come and enjoy Lynx at Chaffee Crossing. Relaxed atmosphere, great barbecue, burgers, and more. Plenty of TVs to watch the game room with a pool table along with full bar and lots of cold beer. Good food and good times are all at the Lynx at Chaffee Crossing off Custer Boulevard in Fort Smith.
For 55 years, Dunn Ford Company in Stigler, Oklahoma has been taking pride in the Ford cars and trucks we sell and service. At our Commercial Vehicle Center, we have the full line of Ford F-Series, Super Duty, and Medium Duty trucks. The Quick Lane at Dunn Ford does routine service and tires on all makes and models. Ask for the works, a 5-quart oil and filter change, tire rotation, and multi-point inspection for $39.95 or less. Dunn Ford in Stigler, 918-967-3384 or DunnFordCompany.com.
Mosquito Joe. Outside is fun again. Stephanie, people ask us all the time, what does that mean? Why don't you explain that to them?
For my husband, it was always fun because, he doesn't get bit. But for me and the kids, Mosquito Joe has been a game changer. We can now go outside without coating ourselves with bug spray or smacking ourselves in the face. Put down the bug spray, pick up the phone. 479-202-9960. That's 479-202-9960. Or go to our website, arkansas.mosquitojoe.com. If you mention you heard it on ESPN, you'll get your first treatment for $39.
Jim's Razorback Pizza. Fresh means fresh, as in no preservatives. That's right. If it's fresh, it doesn't need to be preserved. Try Jim's 100% premium Wisconsin cheese. Fresh whole milk mozzarella, wood smoked provolone, old world style Romano and Parmesan. The freshest all-you-can-eat salad bar in town. No preservatives and fresh every time.
Fresh, fast, Jim's Razorback Pizza.
At the corner of Greenwood and Gary in Fort Smith.
This is the Morning Rush.
There will never be another athletic director that wields the power that Frank Broyles had. They'll never
Without
allow
question.
anyone to gain that kind of influence, power, and stroke that he had. It will never happen again. Even the governor doesn't have the power that Frank Broyles seemed to once had to influence basically any situation in our state.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3. Score more with Or Wednesday or Auto Park Fort Smith, the home of the lifetime engine warranty on all new vehicles. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Martin lines to the gap in right center field. They were playing shallow. That's a long way to bounce to the fence. Ezel scores all the way from first. Casey Martin going to get the green light. Around third he comes. All the way home. They'll score standing up. An inside the park home run by Casey Martin.
Sometimes there's odd things to feel pride in or feel as a strong position for a certain sport. It's like best mop-up man, top eighth man off the bench, and top backup quarterback as well. And Nick Starkel, apparently, even though he hasn't even reported to campus yet, is going to be here this weekend, correct? He has been chosen by Saturday Down South writer Connor O'Gara, who we've had on our show a couple of times, as the number one backup quarterback in the SEC. So don't worry, folks. Even though he hasn't even put on a Razorback uniform yet, and chances are he starts more games than Ben Hicks, Nick Starkel is the best backup quarterback in the SEC. He's probably the best quarterback on campus once he gets there too.
Connor seems pretty enthralled with the guy, and also his companion at Saturday Down South, Michael Broughton, who's their news desk editor, seems to like him as well. It seems like he's pretty well respected amongst SEC football circles. It's one thing for people to like you. It's another thing for you to do it on the field. So I'm really excited when he gets here next Tuesday because the storylines in SEC football here at Arkansas, especially in the quarterback room, they're just going to heat up a little bit.
Connor refers to the fact that Starkel might not have the mobility of a lot of SEC players on the list that he's got, but that he can read SEC defenses, make a wide variety of throws, and even though he lost the quarterback job at A&M to Kellen Mond, still had a year to develop under Jimbo Fisher. So he's already been good at backing up in one case that he apparently would have learned something under Jimbo Fisher. But I also think this list is it's skewed because, first of all, it's May 8th, and you're going by presumed starters of week one. So thinking Ben Hicks is going to be the starter for week one. Who was the second best quarterback that Connor ranked here for the backups in the SEC is Mac Jones. Well, that's a pretty you obviously know who's starting behind center for Alabama. And you know who's going to start there week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11.
Barring injury, hopefully.
Little different at Arkansas. In fact, it's much different at Arkansas. But I guess it's nice to see that you got a good backup quarterback before you even start camp.
And I know most SEC football pundits are really excited about the Auburn competition, what's going to come out of that quarterback. But obviously in our group, in our area, we want to know who's going to win that quarterback battle here in Arkansas. And there are a lot of people, it seems like the more people I talk to are under the assumption that Ben Hicks is going to win the job based on his knowledge of the offense, but it seems like the ceiling for most people you talk to, they seem like they are more on the side of Nick Starkel has a higher ceiling. But again, we don't know because we haven't seen them practice. We don't know enough about, and Starkel's never really been in this offense. So his ceiling could be a lot lower than people think it is because he doesn't have a good grasp on it, because Ben Hicks is the guy that does.
Well, we've had, and I haven't watched enough of either of them to generate my own opinion, but we've had people from both sides of this. We've had Billy Lucci from Tex Ags, who covers everything with Texas A&M, talk about the positives of Nick Starkel, and I mean, you're talking arm strength, intelligence, and the ability to thread a needle in a lot of cases. I forget the name of the guy we spoke with SMU about Ben Hicks, but when he's talking about Hicks, he was really just talking about experience, leadership quality. He didn't hear much about arm strength or threading a needle. A little bit about accuracy, sometimes a little bit too much accuracy towards the other team.
Take six.
Really, I mean, when it comes to it, when we with everybody we've talked to, just talking to here, the only reason that Ben Hicks ever gets spoken about as being the starting quarterback for the Arkansas Razorbacks is because of relationship with Chad Morris, which is what got him to campus, knowledge of the offense, and that's it. And that's about it. So, to me, it seems that it's up to Nick Starkel you got to do a couple things. You got to perform in camp, at practice, so that it looks obvious who belongs behind center on game one. And you've got to get a grasp of this playbook. You've got to you got to make Chad Morris comfortable and Joe Craddock comfortable that you know what they expect from a quarterback in every situation. I think more than anything, it's up to Starkel to prove that he's not ready to handle the playbook when it comes time for it.
I think Hicks has less to prove to Starkel because he's been in the system. Chad Morris and Joe Craddock know what they're getting with Ben Hicks. They don't know necessarily. They can watch all the film, all the tape, all the former highlights of Nick Starkel as much as they want, but until they have him in practice, until they have him in a game situation, they're not going to know what they're going to get out of him. And Ben Hicks I'm assuming, has only gotten better since they last saw him when he was at SMU back in 2017, but that's just me assuming. And you know what they say about assuming, Phil.
They do. They say a couple of things about assume that we won't even mention here. But we will assume, I think quite properly, that Andy Hodges, our columnist from HitThatLine.com, is joining us next. It's halftime on ESPN Arkansas and HitThatLine.com.
Missed a segment or interview? Check out the Halftime Pod at HitThatLine.com.
Wishing time would stop right in its tracks.
Let's see. Search for tire shops in my area.
Y'all need some help? I'm the tire guy.
Who are you, and why are you in my living room?
You need to be more worried about taking care of your old tires. Head on over to Southern Tire Mart. We get you rolling with your new Toyos, the best-selling tires in Fort Smith. Be sure to take advantage of our $24.95 oil change and our free multi-point vehicle inspection.
I only have one more question, tire guy.
All right.
Why is there a mariachi band in my living room as well? Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith, your #1 tire and service store.
ProCare Family Health with locations in Bonanza, Chaffee Crossing, and at their new location in Poto. 1103 Dewey Avenue in Poto is your primary care clinic, acting as a principal point of health care to patients of all ages. Their emphasis is to educate patients about their health and how to maintain it throughout their lifetime. They are devoted to the best research models so that their patients can get the highest standard of care. ProCare Family Health can assist with weight loss, testosterone injections, diabetes, and cortisone shots. ProCare Family Health, dedicating to meeting your health care needs.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hinton. You asked, and we listened. New financing options available now at Champ Hinton Enterprises. Can you believe payments starting at $150 a month? 5-minute credit approvals and 0 down with trade-ins. Come find out for yourself why we have been serving families in the River Valley for over 38 years with over 35,000 cars, trucks, and SUVs sold. We treat you like family. Champ Hinton Enterprises, I-540 at the Arcoma exit, or champhinton.com.
This Memorial Day weekend, it's the 18th annual Madness in May, brought to you by Come Get You Some and Performance Center, presented by Extreme Diesel. A family fun weekend of off-road competition at Birds Adventure Center in Casa, Arkansas. Live music, a poker run along with great prizes, and all the off-road competition you can handle. All four-wheelers and UTVs, welcome. For event information, call 479-782-6833. Camping info, call 479-667-4066. Madness in May, this Memorial Day weekend, brought to you by Come Get You Some, presented by Extreme Diesel.
True Grit Running Company is where perseverance meets passion. Whether you're training for your next marathon or just comfortable shoes to keep up with your kids, we have the gear to help you reach your goals. With our slow motion gait analysis and our extensive product knowledge, we have the right pair of shoes for you. We also carry apparel, nutrition, hydration accessories, injury prevention gear, and recovery products. We offer classes, workshops, and group runs. Lace up, show up, and get your grit on. True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
Halftime is brought to you by Orr Auto Park. Score more with Orr. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Martin racing for third base. He's going to get the green light. Here he comes to the plate, and Casey Martin dives in with another inside the park home run.
Well, if you ever listened to us on hitthatline.com, which is where we stream our radio show, along with, of course, the Morning Rush and Rusk and Zach, you also get a chance to read our next guest on his column. It is Andy Hodges, longtime sports media extraordinaire member, joining us here. Andy, it's good to have you on Halftime today. What's going on?
Oh, not much, man. Just sitting up here watching the rain in Fayetteville, getting ready for Dave Van Horn press conference.
So, all right, let me ask a simple question, because I was thinking about this yesterday. We got 6 games left, and it's pretty close to the time where you start voting for postseason awards, All-Americans and All-SEC and Player of the Year and all that stuff. Dave Van Horn's been the SEC Coach of the Year once, and it was his second year at Arkansas, 2004. The coaching job he's done this season has been incredible, and he'll always point to the achievements of the players first and foremost. But I think he's pushed every button the right way. He's recruited so well for this program. I think he's right now. I think Dave Van Horn is the SEC Coach of the Year.
Oh, I don't think there's any. I don't even know who would be in second place, because I don't. And I caught some heat for a column that I wrote yesterday, where I said this season for Razorback baseball has been surprising. What Van Horn has done. I didn't see this coming back in February. Dave told us at press conferences this team was probably a little overrated. So I didn't expect them to be they've broken the record for wins at this point of the season that they've done. I didn't see that coming. I don't know very many other people that saw that coming. Did you see that coming, Phil? You're closer to it than I am.
Wait a minute, who's interviewing who here?
Well, sorry, it just bad habit.
I'm messing with you. No, I agree with you. I wouldn't have seen them in a position to be the second pro team ever in program history to win 20 conference games, whether under Coach DeBryan or under Dave Van Horn. No, I wouldn't have seen that coming.
It's just been that kind of year where you keep going, okay, they're probably going to lose this game, and you've been at the same games I have, where you go, okay, they're probably going to lose, and then all of a sudden they get hot hitting, they make the right moves, Dave will put in the correct pinch hitter in the right situation, the right pinch runner, he'll move some people around like playing chess with the fielders and stuff, and it's amazing how when he makes those moves, everything falls into place. He tends to downplay it when we get into press conferences or when we're talking to him, and he says, well, it's the players, and that's baseball, and et cetera, et cetera. Well, it's happened too often for me to believe that that's just baseball. Dave is smart. He is the best coach in the SEC. He is the baseball equivalent in the SEC of Nick Saban.
Talking with Andy Hodges, all things hitthatline.com. Andy, let's switch up the talk to Arkansas football. You wrote a column earlier this week talking about Arkansas might get lucky this year, the fact that some SEC programs are going downhill. Who are those programs, and why do you think they're not on the rise this upcoming season?
Well, I think Ole Miss is going backwards because the fallout from the 5-year NCAA investigation finally hitting them. And to be honest, if you look at the entire situation at Ole Miss, and I spent a year down there covering it and looking into it, the NCAA did not hit Ole Miss. They did nothing more than a slap on the wrist. And, in fact, Ole Miss gained 2 scholarships back on the final analysis because they had already self-imposed 2 scholarship losses more than the NCAA imposed. What did affect the program were the players that wanted to transfer out and took that opportunity of the NCAA investigation to transfer out, and it did affect recruiting of what was coming in. I don't think Matt Luke is a head coach in the SEC. I never did. I know Matt Luke. I like him. He's a great guy. He is a great offensive line coach. I don't think he's a head coach. And it just, the hires that they made with new coordinators, the players that they lost, particularly at playmakers, which is what I put the most emphasis on, is just too big for them to overcome. And I think they're even not going to be as good as they were last year. The same situation at Mississippi State. I'm not sure Joe Moorhead and a lot of people within the Mississippi State football building are asking the same question: is Joe Moorhead cut out the head coach?
Andy, another question I have for you. You talked about how you really like this upcoming receiving class. You think it has the potential to be pretty standout in terms of the history of the Arkansas wide receivers in school history. Why are you so high in this incoming receiving class?
Well, mainly because one of the guys I've seen play since he was in the 4th grade, Traylon Burks. And Traylon Burks has the potential to be the best wide receiver that's ever come through the University of Arkansas. And now, I say potential because he hasn't done it yet. This Traylon Burks, Trey Knox, this group, Shamar Nash, throw him in there, TQ Jackson, who we haven't seen yet, who's coming in, is they just know how to make plays. There is a difference between being able to catch the ball and knowing how to make plays. They know how to make the plays. They know how to read the secondary, because in these spread offenses, the quarterback doesn't even know where he's throwing the ball when the ball snaps. He's reading. He has to read the same thing the receivers do with the defensive coverages. Otherwise, somebody's going to look like an idiot because the quarterback's throwing the ball into the stands to a defensive back or to a big patch of green grass, and everybody's going, the quarterback doesn't know what he's doing. These guys have the smarts and the physical ability and the size, and they have all been coached very, very well at the high school level by coaches who probably could coach a level or 2 up.
Andy Hodges joining us here on Halftime, columnist at hitthatline.com. Andy, you are never afraid to make a point or write about something that you probably know going in is going to be an unpopular opinion. And I think you revel in that sometimes, and I respect you for that. But you wrote about how you feel that Arkansas playing against, and I love how you refer to Arkansas State, the community college in Jonesboro. Do you really believe that Arkansas versus Arkansas State, A, would ever be a possibility in a football game or any other sport, or B, would be a good idea?
Yes and yes. I think it should have happened years ago. I actually had a conversation with Frank Boyles about this in 2001, 2002, and he said that he was standing on what he's always said, that it's just not in the best interest of the University of Arkansas. And my response to Frank was, well, Frank, if you lose to Arkansas State, haven't you got bigger problems? than the fact that it was Arkansas State you lost to? Because if you think they're going to out-recruit Arkansas ever, you've got bigger problems. I think they should have. I think they will eventually. I think it's headed in that direction, starting with the state, the schools that are within the University of Arkansas system. And I think it's long past time that it should have happened. And I've been shocked for 25 years that the Arkansas State Legislature hasn't stepped in. I thought they were going to when Mike Beebe, an Arkansas State guy, was the governor for a few years, but it didn't happen.
So I wonder if it would ever happen then, if that's the case. If it takes somebody being that connected to the state, to Arkansas State in the governor's mansion, then they've had their chance, and that's probably it. Let me talk basketball with you real quick here, because Ibrahim Ali has transferred out. You get Jintel Silla coming in, but there's still talk that there could be more transfers out of the basketball program. Do you see anybody else leaving anytime soon?
I really don't know for sure. I hear the same thing you are, that this player or that player might be leaving. This player or that player might be transferring in. It's part of the whole transfer problem, Phil. I mean, nowadays kids, when they just say, well, the coach talked bad about me, I want to transfer out. And, you got Tom Mars down there in Little Rock that's made a whole cottage industry out of getting these kids eligible immediately when they transfer. So we're going to have to live from here on out with the constant transfer rumors, because I don't think the NCAA can walk it back. But specifically at Arkansas, I'm not sure. I hear the same things you guys hear, that this player or that player is leaving because of this or that. And honestly, I don't have enough facts to know what's what.
Andy Hodges is with us, hitthatline.com columnist. Andy, I got a chance to meet Skip Bayless last year at Vanderbilt, and I know, I think John's told me this story. Didn't you and him, didn't y'all used to work together in Dallas, and didn't y'all concoct the First Take idea? For the listeners that haven't heard this story, would you share it with us?
It was kind of a deal where we were the columnists at the Dallas Times-Herald, and Larry Tarleton, who was the managing editor, said, I don't want you guys talking about taking the same side on things. I want one of you, and Bayless, of course, was typical Bayless. Well, I have my viewpoint, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, I don't care what side it is. One of the people I grew up when I was a kid reading about was a Supreme Court justice named William O. Douglas, who on numerous occasions wrote not only his opinion, which was either the minority or the main dissent, he also wrote the opposing side's dissents for some of the justices who were good friends of his. Well, I took that to mean if you can write the issue, you can write both sides of the issue. And that's what I would do on numerous occasions. Of course, a lot of times we just disagreed on general principle. But, yeah, I mean, it was take one side, take the other side. And because we both had to do 5 columns a week, 6 during football season. So you really had to have something to play off each other. And it worked out pretty well. And unfortunately, the Dallas Times-Herald Times-Mirror sold them. And that idea went by the boards. But, hey, it was a good idea, and Skip's taking it. And Jamie Horowitz, I think was his name, developed it even further and turned it into a pretty good deal for Baylor.
Real quick, Andy, before we let you go, just some thoughts on the royal family and how it's taken over your daily life.
Oh, God. I knew I shouldn't have mentioned that to you. Look, the royal family in Great Britain is nothing but the British hood ornament. They have no power. They haven't had any power in over 100 years. Well, they really started losing power when we beat them in 1776 and then again in 1812. They have no power. They are nothing more than hood ornament. Why we care what they do is beyond me, and my wife is fascinated with it. I mean, the royal wedding stayed on our DVR record for months. For months before it was accidentally erased. And, but why? I mean, and now they've had this new baby and all this stuff, and I have had to hear about it nonstop to the point that I leave the house and go somewhere just so I don't have to hear about the British hood ornaments and the baby coming. Did that answer your question?
I think that answers the question perfectly, Andy. Basically, you hate the British family because it clogged up your DVR. Hey, man, we appreciate you coming on with us today. We'll do it again.
All right, thank you, guys.
You got it. Andy Hodges, iconoclast and hater of the British royal family. We hope we don't have any Brits listening on halftime here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Missed a segment or interview? Check out the Halftime Pod at hitthatline.com.
When was the last time you looked forward to seeing the dentist? Well, if it's been a while or you haven't had the best of experience with dentistry, meet Marcy Van Ash McKinney in Family Dentistry. They take care of it all: crowns, bonding, dentures, bleaching, and cosmetic dentistry. They even offer oral consciousness sedation available for your comfort. That's Marcy Van Ash McKinney Family Dentistry at 807 South 21st. Call for an appointment today, 494-7600. That's 494-7600.
Kick off the season the right way with a new RV from Crabtree RV in Alma. Crabtree is extending our RV show pricing all season long. Check out our spring show specials like a Salem 207 with a slide and bunks for $147 a month. And with RV show pricing, you can take up to $10,000 off of MSRP on new travel trailers and up to $15,000 off new fifth wheels. And we'll still give you more for your trade than the other guys. At Crabtree RV in Alma, where your family's dreams come true.
Sleep apnea isn't just a problem for the older or overweight. It can affect anyone, even children. If you or someone you know is tired all the time, it may be sleep apnea. Without treatment, it can lead to many serious health issues or even a traffic accident. Don't risk your health or that of a loved one. Make an appointment today with Dr. Bo Sparkman at River Valley Sleep Solutions. Treat your apnea without the hassle of a CPAP machine. Go to rivervalleysleep.com. That's rivervalleysleep.com.
You know, a night out with friends can be so much more. Upgrade your evening at 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue. Rediscover life's simple pleasures. Dial back, slow down, and immerse yourself in what true relaxation can be. Top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, world-class cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Sample, indulge, escape. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Upgrade your night on the Avenue.
Arkansas Fuel Injection in Fort Smith has been providing quality work for all new and rebuilt diesel pumps and injectors for over 25 years. They are a certified diesel shop with a team of quality technicians that ensure the highest quality workmanship and warranties all their work. They are open Monday through Friday 8 to 5 and has emergency service available 24 hours a day. For all your diesel pump, fuel injection, and parts needs, stop by Arkansas Fuel Injection, 6300 South 29th Street, Fort Smith. Call them today at 1-800-817-7709. Arkansas Fuel Injection.
Colorworks Paint and Body in Barling has a new owner, Andy Herod, and he is ready to make your auto body repairs today. If you live in Barling, Central, Lavaca, or Charleston, Colorworks is your local auto body repair shop. Andy provides superior auto body repair and paint work in addition to working with your insurance company to make your claim as easy as possible. If you have a collision and need repairs, ask for Andy at Colorworks, 1206 4th Street in Barling across from CV's, or call 434-2639.
Looking to upgrade your fleet or needing professional service to your existing fleet? Carco International of Fort Smith offers the latest trucks and equipment in the industry. With over 70 years in the trucking and equipment business, they have the experience to keep you on the road. Carco International offers professional service after the sale. Carco International Parts Department supplies all makes, parts, and gives expert service. Carco International is the answer. Leave it to the pros to keep you on the road. Carco International, located at 2721 Midland Boulevard in Fort Smith.
You know the Sunbelt Chemical and Equipment in Fort Smith is your go-to shop for everything pressure washers. But did you know that they also handle your industrial pump and supply needs too? It doesn't stop there. Sunbelt Chemical and Equipment's industrial vacuum trucks can handle dry, liquid, and even sludge removal from several hundred feet away. Leave the cleanup to the professionals. Contact Sunbelt Chemical and Equipment at 782-3762. That's 782-3762. Sunbelt Chemical and Equipment, 3116 Wheeler Avenue in Fort Smith.
Score more with Or Wednesday or Auto Park Fort Smith, the home of the lifetime engine warranty on all new vehicles. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Dominic Fletcher's given the Razorbacks the lead in the 6th with a long home run near the video board. Number 9 for Fletch, and it's all ball bearings.
Oh, Ty told me not to do it, but I did it. I was sent a link of the video of the guy who got his face bitten by a snake when he opens the front door of a house in Lawton, Oklahoma. I should listen to you next time you tell me not to do something, Ty.
I told you, man. I told you not to do it. Tommy and John were talking about this morning. I had watched it already. I tried to warn you, man.
Yeah, I'm never going to open a front door again. I promise you, I am going to have to stand outside and text people the next time I come over to their house. This is going to ruin me for the rest of my life. I will never open a front door again as long as I live. But we will come back for hour number 2 of Halftime. Change my mind on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
World Class Fitness in Fort Smith is not like other gyms. Open 24/7 so you can work out however, whenever you want. With women's only workout area, free childcare, racquetball courts, and large free weight area, this is the gym for you. World Class Fitness is not that gym. There are no limitations to your goals, gains, or success. No contract and special discount pricing options available. So visit WCFit.com or stop by World Class Fitness today. Don't forget to try clean cooking for your meal prep needs.
Joe's Grill and Cantina is the only place to watch the Hogs. Watch every game at Joe's. Enjoy half-price apps and taps during the game. And with TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat. Half-price appetizers like brisket nachos, Mexican pizza, 10-layer dip, or Joe's humongous sampler platter. All half-price. And all beers on tap are half-price. Watch every Hog game at Joe's. Half-price apps and taps during every Hog game at Joe's Grill and Cantina. 3400 South 74th Street across from Harps.
At Michelob Ultra, we know it's not just about how much you work out every day. It's about how much you work into every day, too. So we brew our beer for those who realize that expending calories should never come at the expense of spending time with friends. Those who understand that just because you work out doesn't mean you can't go out. And that's why we brew Michelob Ultra to have 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and a crisp, clean taste. Michelob Ultra, brewed for those who live fit, live fun, live Ultra. Enjoy responsibly. 2018 Michelob Ultra Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, 0.6 grams of protein, and 0 grams fat for 12 ounces.
Tommy Kraft for The Fence Man. Do you own a business that needs more security? Or maybe you just want a better look and more curb appeal? A new fence from The Fence Man can give you both. In business for more than 40 years, The Fence Man can custom install any type of fencing, gates, controlled access, and card readers. Call The Fence Man for a quick, no obligations quote. 479-782-3936. That's 782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
Win the battle against weeds with a trip to Metters Lumber True Value. Save now on Roundup Concentrated Weed and Grass Killer. A 36.8-ounce bottle is just $18.99 after a $4 instant rebate for True Value Rewards members. This ready-to-use formula destroys tough weeds and grasses down to the root. It's waterproof in 30 minutes with results in only 12 hours. Don't miss this bargain of the month while supplies last. Metters Lumber True Value. Certain exclusions apply. See store for details.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Chance of strong and severe storms possible as we head through the overnight. We drop down into the low 60s north, mid 60s south. Widespread showers and thunderstorms could pack a punch again Wednesday. Our high temperatures in the mid 70s. We could see some very heavy rain south, a couple of inches possible. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by OG&E Weatherization Program for Arkansas customers with homes at least 10 years old. Call 1-800-272-9741 for details or log on at OGE.com.
I hate everything you just said. KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Bush and Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3.
They're hilarious.
Good morning, Vietnam! Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
hitthatline.com.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry. You know, anything travels that far, I'd have a damn stewardess on it, don't you think?
With Phil Elson.
Phil, I think you do a spectacular job.
And Tye Richardson.
Tye, I love the way you talk, buddy.
Pack your bags, load them up, gas the car, and raise that bright red flag to the skies. 423 miles away, the Emerald City awaits. The Hogs are going to Omaha.
But hold on, it's almost halftime.
And officially over the hump. Starting to go on the downslope of the week here on a Wednesday, second hour, halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. It is raining across the natural state, going to be raining quite a bit all day long, maybe even into the wee hours. And, the weather really don't look so good. Hey, if Arkansas is playing baseball some weekend somewhere, it's going to rain. So apparently that's what we're going to be dealing with this weekend, Ty. I think we'll be dodging some raindrops maybe in a game or two. Chance of rain tomorrow night. Hopefully it holds off until after midnight. Friday looks like the best day for baseball in Fayetteville. And then Saturday is going to be dodgy. Expecting rain a good chunk of the day. And so, I don't know. It just it's been such a great season. I feel like you've had one great weather weekend for baseball. And this is the weekend you really want that sort of weather, because when LSU comes to town and Arkansas baseball fans feel like they've got a chance at a series win, they're going to show out, man. I feel like this could be one of the better weekends attendance-wise if the weather held, because it's finals week. There's that pent-up
aggression.
You remember what finals felt like, right?
Yeah.
It's been about 20 years since I had to worry about that, so I don't quite remember it as much. Yeah, it's that pent-up aggression. It's going to be a rowdier crowd than usual, but I was going to say it might be wetter than usual, but it's been a wet crowd almost all year long.
Oh, there's so many things that'll make this weekend a buck wild one if you're planning on attending the game. Actually, my buddy Jeff Taylor just texted me asking me if they made it to Omaha, would we go? And I know obviously you would, but that's just that's the whole mindset. Most Arkansas fans, whether it's casual or diehards, thinks this team right now at this point in time, and again, we'll see what happens this weekend. The outcome, the opinion could change after this weekend. Think this team has a shot in Omaha. And and again, you're kind of the same way where you're a wait and see, and you don't want to put pressure on these guys, which I completely understand. But man, Phil, we talked about I can't remember what game it was earlier this season. I think it was Mississippi State after they swept them. We were like, yes, they played great this weekend, but we always talk about you play your best sometimes, about 5 games a year, and you play 5 crappy games a year, and then that middle run is where you actually are. Man, if they somehow win this series or sweep them this weekend, you're going to have to hone in the dogs and hone in the Arkansas fans, because they're going to go ballistic after this weekend.
Well, we were waiting for them to get past that ribeye meaty portion of the schedule, which started with Auburn, then went into Vanderbilt, then Mississippi State, and Tennessee. And really it started with the weekend series loss to Ole Miss, so you're kind of going into that stretch where you essentially played 6 consecutive opponents ranked in the top 25. You lose 2 out of 3 to Ole Miss, and then the series win against Auburn, which really was if you were looking for a moment that was a turning point, it was the doubleheader split with Auburn and the win in the second game that went 15 innings.
Bigger game, the Auburn series win or the Vanderbilt game 3? You had to pick one of those.
Well, I feel like the Auburn game meant more because you lose that one, that's 5 in a row, and it would have been a real emotional thing, a negative emotional thing to take 2 losses in the same day, especially one where your ace was on the mound in Campbell. So I felt like coming back in that second game and winning the way that they did, and the back in the 4th and the 15 innings, and then winning the next day, just to me felt like it meant a little bit more. Anyway, so you got into that ribeye portion of the schedule, and you lose to Ole Miss. You win 2 out of 3 against Auburn, and so at that point we still are saying, well, hold on, wait, what happens next week? We're playing. You get Mississippi State coming in, so be careful, and you sweep Mississippi State. That was the moment where you start to think, okay, and then it's Tennessee, and okay, all right, there you go, and And so, I mean, I feel like so your friend Jeff wants to start looking ahead for hotel rooms in Omaha, and it's like you're measuring the drapes of the presidential office before the election. You kind of feel that. But I'll tell you what, last year I had the drapes measured by this point. I was saying from the first day of the season, just like I remember Kendall Rogers predicted Arkansas would win a national title in mid-January of 2018. I remember thinking the exact same thing. So I had those drapes measured. I knew the width of the hotel rooms in Omaha and everything. I haven't been at that point this season. I'm starting to get there. So it's not that I'm a slow believer in it, as I'm just, you felt like you knew what you had last year, and it was a steady team. You felt like this year you've been in more of a wait-and-see approach. And so I'm not waiting and seeing anymore. I know what I've seen enough to think that they're in the same position, a better position than they were last year, and winning games in more ways than you did last year, and beating better teams, honestly, than what you faced in conference at times last year. Anyway, so that's where I am with that. But that also leads into, as we usually do on a Wednesday, got some things that we need to change our mind about.
I changed my mind.
Hi, Joey.
Hey, how you doing?
He won't sell anybody out to buy his future.
How can you be so obtuse? What did you call me? Obtuse. Is it deliberate?
Son, you're forgetting yourself.
Change my mind.
So I think it would be a great thing for Arkansas and Oregon State to match up in the postseason again, baseball-wise. I think it would be fantastic this year. It would be such a great part of the story. It really would. And you kind of went into these last couple of weeks thinking, well, if that happens, then it would have to happen in Omaha again, because Oregon State was a top 3 team in the country, and we're kind of cruising along in a top-heavy Pac-12 where it's basically been 3 teams that have been dominant: UCLA, Stanford, and defending national champion Oregon State, who has maybe the best player in the country in switch-hitting catcher Adley Rutschman, who I think will be the top overall pick in the draft. And for a while there, it really looked like that was going to be the case. But right now, Oregon State's struggling a little bit. They've lost. They just got swept at home by Oklahoma State. So they have to schedule a little bit more out of conference, because the Pac-12, which is a 14-team league, doesn't have 14 baseball teams. They have 13. So every one of those other teams has to schedule, at least in the middle of the season, a tough I wouldn't say tough all the time, but Oregon State does schedule tough. Oklahoma State went to Corvallis and won 3 games. They were unranked at that point, and so that really hurts Oregon State's hosting chances to lose 3 straight games at home to an unranked team. And right now, their RPI has been bumped all the way into the 20s. They were right there with Arkansas as far as RPI was concerned. They're not anymore. So Baseball America has come out with their most recent projections for the field of 64 for the NCAA tournament, and they do have Oregon State hosting a regional, but not as a top 8 national seed. They've got them as number 14, hosting UC Santa Barbara, Tennessee, and Harvard. Well, the 14 seed is matched up against the 3rd seed regional.
Who's in that regional, or who's in that super?
Well, there's Canisius, Texas State, Indiana State, and Arkansas, the number 3 seed. The Fayetteville Regional is lined up with the Corvallis Regional in Baseball America's most recent predictions of the field of 64. And I think that would be fantastic. It would be better than facing them in Omaha and knocking them out of the College World Series, or even playing for the national title and beating them there. What about having them come to Fayetteville and generating record crowds? The records that have been set for attendance at Baum Stadium were set during the 2015 Super Regional against Missouri State. And yet, Missouri State's a rival, and they've beaten Arkansas in the postseason, but they're not Oregon State. And I think that would carry a little bit more weight. I think this is a great idea. It would be even better to keep them from not making it to Omaha, from knocking them out right there in your own ballpark. I like that better than beating them in Omaha. Change my mind.
You can't even say that Arkansas was on the cusp of winning a national championship and beating Oregon State last year, because that's not even fair to the word, because on the cusp, It's like close. Like,
what's a cusp? You have to define a cusp.
That's an old person question, so I'm going to let you do that. But it's not even fair to say that because of how much closer Arkansas was. That word does not even define. So to be able to welcome them, and I say welcome, and I mean another term, to Baum Stadium for a chance to avenge what should have been your national championship last year. I can't even Texas, as much as Arkansas fans, and I know Bubba might disagree with this as much as he hates Texas, and I'm kind of the same way, but I don't even think having Texas in here would generate just the uproar that you would see from that crowd for that super regional. That's saying something. I mean, it's Texas, man. Your arch rival for however many years, the team you despise, the college you hate. But to be able to beat the team that took away your national championship last year, I don't think that you can do that. I can't change your mind. I was the one telling you about this, how great it would be. I'll say this. If this were to happen, if Arkansas were to beat LSU this weekend and the super regional and they got there and Oregon State came into town and they beat them, I can't say they're not going to win in Omaha. Like, there could be something that happened, but I don't know if you could, at that point in time, I don't know if there would be a single coherent, objective, unbiased Arkansas fan that you could ask about the Razorbacks' realistic chance of winning the College World Series, because at that point, everyone would say they're going to do it. They just got the monkey off their back with LSU. They just beat the team that took away their national championship last year. They're winning it all. So I can't change your mind, Phil.
Two things I got for you before you do your first change my mind. One, the LSU thing over Arkansas is not a monkey. It's a giant, misshapen marsupial. I mean, it is that big on them right now, and it is sitting on their head. It's not even on their shoulders. Two, the definition of cusp is a point of transition between two different states. So I think that cusp perfectly defines what you're getting at, because the two states that we're referring to here are champion and not champion. So I think cusp perfectly defines what you're getting at. Change my mind.
You know me, I'm just always putting words that make sense when I don't even know what they truly mean. All right, if I first change my mind, I don't know if you saw, but Wendy's is bringing back their spicy nuggets, which I am just so excited for.
The chicken nugget aficionado has come out.
Yeah, the chicken nugget, it's me just relishing the fact that the nuggets are back with Wendy's. I'll eat any type of chicken nuggets, but the one thing I will not do, Phil Elson, is I will not peel the breading off the nuggets and eat them. Like, who does that? This was blasted all over social media. You're a psychopath if you pull the breading off the chicken nugget and then eat it like that, because it looks disgusting. Phil, you shouldn't peel the breading off chicken nuggets. Change my mind.
So I've got a 6-year-old son, and his name is Gabriel. And he loves chicken nuggets, especially from Chick-fil-A. That's his favorite, probably his favorite food on earth.
Smart kid. Good
You
kid.
know what he does with those chicken nuggets, my friend?
He peels them off.
He peels those suckers off. He doesn't take all the breading off. He takes off the breading that's protruding a little further out. It's like the Crispies of the Crispies. You know what I mean?
That's okay. That I can be okay with. But if you take your entire breading off your chicken nuggets, then we're going to have a problem.
Okay, so you're not calling my 6-year-old son, a psychopath then?
No, of course not. No.
Are you sure about this?
That kid, he's a good kid. He's a good kid. But because I do that with like pizza, when there's like cheese like outside of the crust or something that, like, you know, the little prickly part of the cheese, and then as he mentioned, I do that. But I'm talking about the entirety of the chicken nugget. If you pull all of it off, there's something wrong there, Phil.
Well, what's the point of the chicken nugget, right?
It's fried for a reason. So you could have the crispiness of it.
How do you feel about the non-fried nuggets at Chick-fil-A too? Because I would think that's not right down your alley.
So Tommy mentioned that he got some of those the other day. I don't get them, but I don't have a problem with them. Like,
have you ever tried them? That's the question.
Maybe at one point in time. Now, I've had one of their grilled chicken sandwiches at Chick-fil-A, but I don't know if I've ever specifically gotten their nuggets. You got to remember, Phil, I'm 24 years old. I don't really have to worry about diets or anything right now. Now, maybe in 5 or so years, when my metabolism goes to hell, then I'll have to start doing that. But at this point in time, I eat relatively healthy, but not all the way healthy. So when I go to a fast food place, I'm getting something dank, and I'm getting something full of grease and fat, and not caring how many calories it got in it.
Okay, so my second is I feel like I should start watching the NBA postseason. You feel like Giannis,
at this point in time?
I still can't say his last name properly. Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Milwaukee Bucks really seems to be like a star emerging on the scene in a way that is unexpected for a lot of people. I think a lot of people that don't pay that much attention to the NBA wouldn't even realize Milwaukee has a team. So it feels like he's worth watching. It feels like the series on the West in the Western Conference are worth watching. Certainly, with what's expected to be the breakup of the Golden State Warriors, you feel like you kind of want to watch it either happen right in front of your eyes or see this last run if they can actually put one together. And usually, I mean, I'd start paying attention, and I can't be out there lying about it. I haven't watched an NBA regular season game in probably 5 or 6 years. And I'll watch the finals when the chance arises, but I don't necessarily make it date programming. It's not on my calendar. But it feels to me like these postseason series already have been really entertaining. 3 of the 4 series that are still being played are tied 2-2. So you got a good shot at maybe going a 7th game in a couple of them at least. I don't know. I feel like I should be paying attention to the NBA postseason. We're not playing midweek games anymore. I got enough to do with college baseball in this, but I don't know. Changed my mind. NBA basketball looks like it's worth watching right now.
So, as you know, I classify with most of our listeners thinking the old NBA, the 80s and 90s, is better than what you watch today. But I will say I'm kind of with you. You've got some pretty decent series. Nuggets and Nuggets and Trailblazers, that's a 3-2 series. Raptors and Philly, that's a 3-2 series. Boston might get knocked out. Milwaukee's up on them 3-1. We'll see what happens there. And then the last one, Golden State and Houston, that's 2-2. So there's some pretty good series, and there have been some pretty decent storylines. As you mentioned, the Greek Freak, he's really emerged in this playoffs, and people are really excited to hopefully that even though Milwaukee's not the biggest star-studded city and it won't draw the biggest attention, but I think that matchup potentially of Kevin Durant and his Golden State Warriors with Steph, Clay, and all those guys matching up against possibly the Greek Freak or just another team out of the East. I think the 2 best draws the NBA could hope for is Golden State versus either Milwaukee or Golden State versus Boston, and it looks like Boston's going to get knocked out. And I don't know what's going to happen with Philly and the Raptors. But, yeah, it's been pretty good, Phil. It's just hard for me as a guy that just relishes in the old NBA to ever think we're going to get back to that point in time. So that's kind of what my line of thinking is on that.
Well, we'll see if I end up turning it on later tonight. I know there are a couple of games late tonight. I'll need to be up finishing prep for the LSU baseball series. Need to have something on the TV. I've already watched Game of Thrones. I don't know. Maybe I'll put it on.
See, that's another part that I've kind of struggled with is the fact that I'm trying to just absolutely invest all of my time out of sports radio into Game of Thrones, watching 2 or 3 episodes a day. And so I haven't watched any of the playoffs lately because I've been so heavily invested in that, trying to catch up before the final episode.
You are feeling social pressure, my friend, aren't you?
It's tough, man. It's peer pressure.
It's part of the FOMO that you feel from being on social media. That's what it's doing to us.
Hey, you're exactly right. Speaking of social media, one of the biggest college football takes happened yesterday. Paul Feinbaum, he had this to say about Clemson football.
I think anyone realistic has to say that Nick Saban should be regarded as the number 1 coach in the country. He's won 6 national championships. However, I do think the debate is pretty healthy about which program is the best right now. And you guys know my resume and where I've lived. I lived 30 years in Alabama. But I don't think there really is a tremendous amount of debate that Clemson right now has the best program in America. It has passed Alabama in terms of appeal, in terms of showroom value, in terms of upward mobility and ascendancy. And a lot of that is because of Saban's age, and a lot of it is because that Clemson right now is just a lot more fun to go play. It's a school that's a lot more fun to go play at than the University of Alabama.
Phil, I think he's right. Clemson's got the number 1 recruiting class in this upcoming 2021. They got that kid out of California named DJ, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Is 5-star, starting to become, like Oklahoma, QBU, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, and now this kid that has the potential to just be a stud at the college level. You think about Clemson as a whole, it's cooler to play at Clemson, not only because of the uniforms, but Dabo just seems more like of a fun coach to be. Now, I know he can be a hard you-know-what at times, like every other coach in college football, but he has this aura around him that people would rather flock to him than Nick Saban. And that's not protruding on Nick Saban, not criticizing it, but you just got to be honest when it comes to these two guys. I think most players would rather play for Dabo Swinney than Nick Saban at this point in time. And Phil, have you seen their facilities, man? I'm not talking about their weight room. I'm not talking about Death Valley. I'm talking about the slide in their facility. I'm talking about mini golf right outside. I'm talking about
slide. What is this? A playground?
Yeah, it's just like a slide from like the up top. I think it's where they eat to come down. The basketball court, the bowling alley. I mean,
they have a slide to come down to where they eat.
You need to see it. It's pretty cool. I mean,
what is this, a firehouse?
This football complex is unbelievable, and I know we always talk about that Arkansas has top-notch facilities. But let me tell you something. Clemson, South Carolina, they got some facilities down there. It's an incredible place. I think Clemson, I agree with Paul Feinbaum, I think Clemson right now is the more attractive football program to prospective college athletes, high school athletes at point in time than Alabama. Do you agree?
I don't think I can. First of all, I agree with you, and I don't think I could change your mind about that. When you just look at the turnover from one coaching staff in Alabama over the last 2 seasons to the complete lack of turnover on the coaching staff for Clemson, there's a little bit more of a family feeling, I think. And that all comes from the top, where and certainly Dabo can be, you're just like you're saying, a hard ass if he needs to, but he usually has a little bit more of an air of positivity around him than Coach Saban does, who his smiles look like scowls, to put it mildly. I kind of wonder about this a little bit too, maybe to ask Bill King about it. I mean, I think it's correct. Clemson has surpassed Alabama as far as ascendancy on the national stage, and all you got to do is point to the national titles in the last 3 seasons. But how much of this? And I guess it's just a question I'm posing. How much of this is the fact? It is a fact. You have an easier path to the football playoff out of the ACC when you're Clemson than you do if you're Alabama in the SEC. I think that there is a much easier path. So I don't know what that does for recruiting or whatnot, but it does lead to a lot of playoff appearances because the ACC just isn't as strong or anywhere close to it.
And here's what's funny. Last year, this was rumors, and I don't know how solid this was coming out of Clemson camp, that they didn't even prepare really for Notre Dame because they just thought they were going to run over them, which they did. They spent about that month spending their time on Alabama, which is just incredible to think about, that they thought they could just roll over the Fighting Irish, which they did, and then use that time, use that investment on Alabama, and it ended up coming big because that's the biggest upset, the biggest smashing that Alabama suffered under Nick Saban.
Okay, so my last one to get into for Change My Mind, and I know we'll go to a break after this. Our buddy John Neighbors of the Morning Rush, I don't even know how to describe this without being gross, posted a photo of his dog taking a poop on both Twitter and Facebook, and I guess it was on Instagram too, and I love just about everything that John does. I don't know the context surrounding his photo that he posted. I'm sure that there was some reason why, but I don't know. I just wouldn't be. Don't post photos of your dog pooping or anything pooping for that matter. For social media, there is such a thing as TMI. Change my mind.
I don't think there's ever been a subject that we've discussed in this specific segment that I could agree with you more on. He told me that this morning. I just kind of shook my head. All right, my last one. It's going to be a Debbie Downer, but I just think it's true. Phil, I don't think Arkansas is going to win the SEC outright. Now, they might tie for it, but if you look at Vanderbilt right now, they're so hot. Hogs got to play 2 tough series down the stretch, a team they haven't beat in the series since 2011, and then a tough team on the road in Texas A&M. And you mentioned Missouri's a decent baseball team, but they get them at home, and then they go to Kentucky, who's 6-18 in conference this season. I just don't think Arkansas is going to win the SEC outright. But at the end of the day, you don't care, because if they bring home a national championship, no one remembers the regular season title.
I won't try to change your mind because I think that would take an extra 2 segments, but I think there's an opening. There's a little bit of an opening. Before we go to the break, I want to talk to anybody that's getting into real estate. If you're looking to find a new home, right now is the time to be looking because interest rates are low, so you get more house for your money. Or maybe you're thinking about getting into real estate investing. Well, call Quantum Property Services. They can help with all of it, buying, selling, investing, all your property needs. And if you're looking to get into investing in real estate, they can help find the right property or properties and make it hassle-free by managing those properties for you. Call 479-434-6860 or go to quantumpropertyservicesinc.com. We'll come back on halftime. This is ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson. Follow them on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP and at Tye Sports Radio.
Kick off the season the right way with a new RV from Crabtree RV in Alma. Crabtree is extending our RV show pricing all season long. Check out our spring show specials like a Salem 207 with a slide and bunks for $147 a month. And with RV show pricing, you can take up to $10,000 off of MSRP on new travel trailers and up to $15,000 off new fifth wheels. And we'll still give you more for your trade than the other guys. At Crabtree RV in Alma, where your family's dreams come true.
Spring into color at the Paint Store in Van Buren. Your favorite choice for inspiration in choosing those vibrant colors from Richards Paints to finish your warm weather renovations. The Paint Store in Van Buren is contractor friendly and special orders don't upset them. Sue and Vicky, with over 30 years of experience, welcome all your painting questions and will help you feel confident in your choices of Richards Paints. The Paint Store is at 1414 Fayetteville Road in Van Buren. Come and see them or check them out on Facebook today.
May is here, and at Frankfurt Furniture, it's time for May Pick a Number sale. Not customers who finance get to draw a ticket out of our Pick a Number box with discounts from 5% to 50% off.
Remember, always at Frankfurt Furniture for our cash customers, 25% off if you're paying with check, cash, or card.
Also register to win your choice of a 50-inch smart TV or a recliner to be given away May 31st.
Frankfurt Furniture, your made in the USA headquarters.
Best seats in the house.
Well, at least you didn't hit me with a pan this time.
Tommy Kraft for the Fence Man. Do you own a business that needs more security? Or maybe you just want a better look and more curb appeal? A new fence from the Fence Man can give you both. In business for more than 40 years, the Fence Man can custom install any type of fencing, gates, controlled access, and card readers. Call the Fence Man for a quick, no obligations quote. 479-782-3936. That's 782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
Supercuts welcomes you. Our friendly professional stylists are always ready to serve you with a warm smile and finish your cut with an amazing hot towel refresher every time. Take advantage of our weekly sales, such as $1 shampoos with a haircut on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. That's right, $1 shampoos on every Tuesday and Wednesday. And 10 to 20% off color sale with $5 hair conditioning treatments every Thursday. And there is much, much more. Supercuts conveniently serves its community 7 days a week. Supercuts, clean, sharp, ready.
Arts is more than barbecue and burgers. As a matter of fact, Arts has some of the best fried shrimp, grilled tilapia, and salmon you will find. And don't forget the catfish at Arts. Full-size meaty fillets, fried crispy golden brown, with hush puppies and all the fixins. And every Friday is Catfish Friday, featuring their catfish special at lunch and the all-you-can-eat Friday night special. Arts, more than just great barbecue and burgers. Try one of the shrimp or fresh fish entrees at Arts Barbecue on Rogers Avenue next to Aaron's in Fort Smith.
That's the secret phone. The what? Remember? I told you my dad's a shelter agent. When that phone rings, he rushes out to save the day. Whether someone's home or car gets damaged, my dad is always there to help. He has the coolest job ever.
Well, my dad's an astronaut.
That's cool too, I guess.
Find your insurance superhero at shelterinsurance.com.
Call me, Wade Gilkey in Fort Smith.
Or call me, Jim Malum in Charleston.
This is the Morning Rush.
There will never be another athletic director that wields the power that Frank Broyles had. They'll never
Without
allow
question.
anyone to gain that kind of influence, power, and stroke that he had. It will never happen again. Even the governor doesn't have the power that Frank Broyles seemed to once had to influence basically any situation in our state.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3. Score more with Or Wednesday or Auto Park Fort Smith, the home of the lifetime engine warranty on all new vehicles. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Here's the pitch. High drive, right center field. Look at that one go. Way back, over the video board. Holy cow. Heston Kjerstad with a massive long ball. Back here on Halftime, ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com. You hear him every Monday through Friday starting at 3 o'clock, Ruskin and Zach here on ESPN Arkansas. They had new head basketball coach Eric Musselman on the show yesterday. And, you kind of notice it has taken a while for the rest of the coaching staff to take hold. It's been over a month since his hire. I don't think everybody's been announced as far as the coaching staff is concerned. He did talk about hiring his assistant coaches on the show.
We
still have a couple more positions as assistant coaches and then a couple other support staff members that we're working on. Just like in recruiting with your roster, it's the same thing with the staff. From a leadership standpoint, what you don't want to do is you don't want to be in a hurry and make mistakes. And we don't want to rush to make a decision. We want to try to put together the very best staff, just like you try to utilize each scholarship spot that you have to your best ability. And you don't want to make rush judgments. And so we're being as thorough as possible.
Kind of pertaining to this coaching search, Phil, he talked about how they've been really hitting the recruiting aspect of the players, and once the dead period starts, they're going to look more to who they can possibly hire, kind of dive more into the coaching, the different prospects there, which I get. I mean, you want to focus on the recruits, and then once you can't really focus on them as much and communicate with them, you hit on the assistant coaches.
Also spoke about a couple of players, one that is transferring in, one who has not played yet in 2 years, sitting the bench. Here's Eric Musselman on Khalil Garland.
From a medical standpoint, that's in the trainers and the doctor's hands. And I will say one thing. He has been incredible with his enthusiasm on the sideline. He's a guy who is a team leader. I haven't been around many guys that haven't put on a uniform for an extended period of time that have such an impact internally in the locker room and on the floor.
He's not the only one that's been cagey about his health. Mike was the same way, and we believe it has something to do with his heart. We can't verify that because we obviously, with the different, and I can't think of the code or the 9 or whatever the code is that you can't talk about players' health and whatnot, but that seems to be the issue. And this was, again, Phil, this was a stud at Parkview.
5-star.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know if he was that degree, but he was a player back in the day, back in high school. This was supposed to be a prominent piece of Mike Anderson's recruiting class, and we just hadn't gotten to see him play yet.
Well, we also know Jintel Silla, new Arkansas Razorback coming out of UNC Wilmington. He is the first official transfer in under Eric Musselman, and Musk spoke about him yesterday too.
Right when we got the job, one of the areas that we wanted to address was just perimeter shooting up front. And the thing with Gene Tall is he's a proven player. He's going to add depth to our team. He's a guy who's a natural 4-3. Right now, the way that our roster is set up is we're going to have to – we're a small team at the 5 spot. We're probably going to play this season without a true 5-man.
It really seems like that he's kind of using the Bruce Pearl Auburn approach where they play the small ball. And we've seen them getting to a Final Four. That can work if you have the right guys. But he also mentioned in his opening day press conference, Phil, how they didn't have a center until his 4th year at Nevada. It was the kid that transferred from Old Dominion. So small ball worked in was it the Mountain West? Yeah, where they played. We'll see if it can work in the SEC. Obviously, Bruce Pearl, with time, has been able to perfect his system. I'm curious to see how early on they do without a 5-man down low.
Who's the kid out of Little Rock that's looking to transfer out of Cal that was looking
Connor,
at least visiting Arkansas or thinking about Arkansas?
Connor Vanover, 7'3" kid out of Baptist Prep that originally lived in Little Rock.
Had some numbers his freshman year at Cal too. So maybe you get him. He'll have to sit a year, and then you do have a center in year number 2.
And we mentioned this yesterday. We were both in the same mindset that it was only a matter of time before Ibrahim Ali was going to transfer, and we got that domino to fall yesterday. Now it's a matter of time. Who are they going to bring in?
We are about to bring in Bill King of Nashville Sports Radio. We'll talk with him in just a moment. Our usual Wednesday guest in hour number 2. It's halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Look what God gave her. No hidden agendas on this program. You're listening to Halftime. It's like he answered my prayers. The way that she moves.
Let's see. Search for tire shops in my area.
Y'all need some help? I'm the tire guy.
Who are you, and why are you in my living room?
You need to be more worried about taking care of your old tires. Head on over to Southern Tire Mart. We get you rolling with your new Toyos, the best-selling tires in Fort Smith. Be sure to take advantage of our $24.95 oil change and our free multi-point vehicle inspection.
I only have one more question, tire guy.
All right.
Why is there a mariachi band in my living room as well? Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith, your #1 tire and service store.
Guys, are you tired of all the hassles with your CPAP machine? Putting on the mask every night, cleaning or replacing hoses and filters? Tired of taking it on trips and wondering where you're going to plug it in? And don't forget the distilled water. You need a solution. River Valley Sleep Solutions. Replace your CPAP with an innovative custom-fitted mouthguard. Medical insurance is accepted, and financing options are available. Find out more at rivervalleysleep.com. That's rivervalleysleep.com.
Colorworks Paint and Body in Barling has a new owner, Andy Herod, and he is ready to make your auto body repairs today. If you live in Barling, Central, Lavaca, or Charleston, Colorworks is your local auto body repair shop. Andy provides superior auto body repair and paint work in addition to working with your insurance company to make your claim as easy as possible. If you have a collision and need repairs, ask for Andy at Colorworks, 1206 4th Street in Barling across from CV's, or call 434-2639.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hinton. You asked, and we listened. New financing options available now at Champ Hinton Enterprises. Can you believe payments starting at $150 a month? 5-minute credit approvals and 0 down with trade-ins. Come find out for yourself why we have been serving families in the River Valley for over 38 years with over 35,000 cars, trucks, and SUVs sold. We treat you like family. Champ Hinton Enterprises, I-540 at the Arcoma exit, or champhinton.com.
This is Matt Brown, PGA head golf professional. The 47th annual Ben Guerin 4-Ball is coming up May 31st, June 1st, and 2nd at the Ben Guerin Golf Course. The $150 per person entry fee includes 3 days of golf and a Titleist prize package. This tournament will fill up fast, so call the Pro Shop at 646-5301 or stop by today to reserve your spot in this Fort Smith Classic. Don't forget to check out our Facebook page for all upcoming events, including the ASGA Monk Wade Father-Son Tournament in July. When you think golf, think Ben Guerin.
Arkansas Fuel Injection in Fort Smith has been providing quality work for all new and rebuilt diesel pumps and injectors for over 25 years. They are a certified diesel shop with a team of quality technicians that ensure the highest quality workmanship and warranties all their work. They are open Monday through Friday 8 to 5 and has emergency service available 24 hours a day. For all your diesel pump, fuel injection, and parts need, stop by Arkansas Fuel Injection, 6300 South 29th Street, Fort Smith. Call them today at 1-800-817-7709. Arkansas Fuel Injection.
Halftime is brought to you by Orr Auto Park. Score more with Orr. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
2-0 the count. Here's the pitch. A swing, a line drive, base hit down the left field line. Here comes Kenley with a winning run, and the Razorbacks have swept Tennessee.
Bill King, always good to give us some of his time on Wednesdays in the second hour. He is a host on Nashville Sports Radio, 6 to 9 every Monday through Friday. Bill, how's it going? What's going on outside Nashville today?
Hey, boys, nice weather day. Good day.
Not here. It's raining across the entire state. In fact, we got flood attempts and the floods all over, and county schools where I live are getting out early today. So, kind of some of the stuff that you guys have dealt with in Nashville, definitely too. Hey, I was you looking at the Kentucky Derby this last weekend with the replay and the way it finished, and not necessarily to get into the outcome of the race or why there was a disqualification. Just the idea of replay deciding the race that wasn't a photo finish at the end. And we talk about replay in college football, and I see it in college baseball a lot. And the thing that always gets to me is how long it takes sometimes. Now, it took forever for that replay, or for the officials, or whatever they call the officials at Churchill Downs, to watch what they needed to watch. But I guess in that case, you're okay with the amount of time that it takes because it's deciding the outcome of it. I feel like in college football and college baseball and sometimes in college basketball, these replays, they got to figure out a way to for it not to take so much time.
Yeah, I agree. And particularly if it gets monotonous where it's happening time and time again. That's even worse to me. But yeah, I'm a big Derby fan. I'm not a horse racing aficionado, but I think it's a very slippery slope when we start changing results. And the best horse clearly won the race. But I tell you who's on my side. Let me reverse. I'm on his side. That's what Bob Baffert says too, and I'll go with him over anybody else.
That's right. It's funny too. When it comes to horse racing, most of us watch the 3 big races, but that's about it.
Right.
So you got to go. You go with the experts, because some of us try to act like we're experts when we watch 3 races a year. The experts, for me, basically almost all agreed that the outcome that was decided was the right outcome.
I know. Yeah, I saw that. Most people have gone by way of letter of the law. Look, 145 years. racing. It's never happened at the Derby. You have a 20-horse field, which is pretty crowded. And again, trained eyes, I've seen trained eyes that are better than mine for that say he's clearly an attempt. I thought racing involved track position, whether it was a dog, a human, a car, or whatever. So that's another one I didn't quite get. But rules are rules, I guess. Look, I didn't have any money. My horse, I just picked. Now, Country House was, 65-1. I had a horse that was about 50-1, and my horse finished 19th, so I had no argument.
Last thing I want to touch on with replay, where I draw the line is in baseball. And we talked a little baseball with you last week, so I know you pay attention to baseball too. Where I draw the line is at a robotic strike zone. I feel like that's the step that's too far. I'll accept a lot of replay in baseball. I won't accept a robotic strike zone. What would be your thoughts about a robotic strike zone?
I wouldn't like it. I think the human element there is part of the game, and it's part of what attracts us to the game. And I don't know where it's going, but I'll tell you the other thing I cannot stand, and I understand the reason why schools do it, but 3 SEC teams have the artificial turf thing, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and is it Kentucky?
Kentucky, too. That's right. We were just there.
I cannot stand that. God, I hate that.
Bill and I are on the exact same path with this. I did a whole segment on the fact that the fields that have no natural surfaces are ridiculous. At least Kentucky's got a dirt mound. Vanderbilt's got no natural surfaces anywhere in that
Correct.
stadium.
It just doesn't feel like a baseball field by doing that. But again, this is coming from a guy that's never stepped on the baseball field competitively, so what did I know? So, all right, Bill Keene, Nashville Sports Radio, our guest every Wednesday. Bill, this guy out of the Post and Courier wrote an article. This is, I think, out in South Carolina, and he ranked the ACC and SEC coaches combined, 28 total. He had Chad Morris at 25. Just off the top of your head, do you think that's an accurate ranking?
Probably not. I just looked at the top. I didn't go all the way through it, but I think he's a better coach than that. I think he's one of the better offensive minds in college football, and given the time, he's going to show it at Arkansas with the resources he'll have there. But probably would have him a little bit higher than that.
So we spent a little time earlier in the hour talking about what Paul Feinbaum said yesterday to a radio show in Charlotte, how he thinks that Clemson right now, not coaching Dabo Swinney, but Clemson is the best college football program right now, and it's overtaking Alabama. I know we talked with you about Saban and Swinney, but this argument's a little different. Do you think Clemson is the most attractable college football program right now?
I think you've got two elements here. You've got history and you've got current. If you wanted to really get into the fine print currently, Clemson's got the most recent natty. And that's not a fluke one. Dabo's got one 2 years prior. So there's a pattern here. So it's a worthy argument. I don't know that I would have necessarily had Clemson ahead of Alabama, but let me say this. They are right now building what will be, if it continues, their best recruiting class in the history of the school, including Danny Ford, early 80s, including anything recently. They've got the number one defensive lineman, who is the number one ranked player in America, committed. They got the number one running back in Florida, a 5-star committed. They have a quarterback out of Northern California who is going to be immediately, well, he'll sit behind Trevor Lawrence 1 year, and then he'll have it 2 more years. He's 6'4", 240. He's a generational quarterback. They've got him committed, and they have lots out there left to get. That coupled with the most recent natty in 2 of the last 3 makes a very compelling argument for them. I don't know nationwide if they're still viewed like Bama, but I don't think that's a crazy list there or a crazy comment.
So that's one of the big Southeast rivalries right now. Another one that's been long before that is Georgia and Florida. And I know Mike Bianchi went on Feinbaum earlier this week and said that Dan Mullen in Florida were eventually going to overtake Kirby Smart in Georgia. And I just have a hard time believing that, Bill. Do you think do you think Dan Mullen gets Florida back on top and then eventually back over Georgia?
I think he's a good enough coach But let me extract something. Florida is, I think, sometimes I think Florida might be the most attractive school in America for winning football. But at the moment, they're recruiting well. Mullen had a nice class this last February when it was all finalized. But it's not that kind of class like Alabama's getting, Georgia's getting, Clemson is now getting, the Buckeyes typically get. They're not recruiting that elite level numbers-wise yet. So Bianchi's making a calculation that I can't reach for yet. I can't draw the same conclusion because I don't see the same acquisition of talent.
Bill King joining us here on every Wednesday from Nashville Sports Radio. Bill, earlier this week we talked about whether fans have bought into Chad Morris in the year number 2, and we kind of came away saying, I don't know what they were going to believe right now. I think they're waiting to see a win in the SEC, and I think they've got a good shot in week number 2 against Ole Miss. Is there another coach in the SEC that you could think of that is at more risk of not being around for 2020 than perhaps Matt Luke at Ole Miss?
Auburn's got a tough schedule. And Gus is not real popular right now. He's got a big, fat, relatively brand-new contract that's very weighty, as we know. But if they lose their typical, they're going to lose to Alabama again. Alabama's got a pretty significant jump on them. They're going to lose to Georgia. You start losing to A&M, who you could argue might be better. LSU, you go 8-4, and you're losing against the teams you need to be beating. The primary teams there, I could see Gus being in trouble. Absolutely.
What about Ed Ogeron with the new athletic director? We keep hearing great recruiter, sometimes game coach. You wonder about it. Athletic directors sometimes looking to make a splash. Could you see any scenario where Ed Ogeron wouldn't return to LSU?
No, even if they have a, let's say, disappointing 8-4 season. He bought a lot of equity last year. Now, he still can't beat Alabama, but he is having a phenomenal class. They're ranked number 2 in the class of 20, and they're getting lots of players. They've always had talent. I'm not acting like this is new, but they're stacking them up again. They're level. And I think he's bought some equity in the bank. The only way something could happen would be the scenario that you and I have discussed before, guys, and that is if for some reason Jimbo called and said, hey, if you want me, I'm ready. I can come, because those guys are very close. Jimbo loved his time at LSU with Nick Saban back in the day. Probably would have returned to LSU to be the head coach a few years back if Joe Oliva wasn't there. Everything's lined up differently now. That's the only scenario where I could see something happening quick, and I don't think Jimbo's. I don't see that happening. I think the timing's bad.
Phil, I love how Bill's scenario exactly took place, like minutes after he told us that he thinks Scott Woodward's going to end up at LSU. There was a press release that came out. That was just great. And who knows, a few years down the line, another one of his thoughts could come true, and we could see Jimbo at LSU. Bill,
Yeah, I mean, he's got an unlimited checkbook there. But look, hey, you and I both know, I never thought Spurrier would leave Florida for the pros and then end up at South Carolina. Patino would leave Kentucky for the Celtics, end up at Louisville. Obviously Saban at LSU, goes to Miami, ends up at Alabama. So weird things happen, man.
Bill, last week I asked you about quarterbacks, and I think I listed Fromm, Eason, Fields, Lawrence, and Tua. Another guy that's kind of getting lost in the shuffle is Justin Herbert out in Eugene, Oregon. This is one of the premier quarterbacks that decided to come back to play with his brother who's an incoming tight end. Do you think as a college football whole that we've kind of forgotten about this kid up west?
The Pac-12 is so many ways out of sight, out of mind for all of us. They're poorly run. But back to your point on the player, Justin Herbert is a potential Heisman winner. Now, I'm not saying he's going to win it, because I think right now it's overwhelmingly Pretty Boy or Tua. It's one of those two. But he is, and he's a potential number 1 pick in the draft. He's that kind of, he's 6'7", 6'6". He's got a big arm. He's athletic. He's going to be in an offense that produces a whole lot of numbers, which is conducive. Yeah, no, that kid's a big-time player. No question.
Bill, always fun talking sports with you. Have a great week, and we'll look forward to next Wednesday.
Okay, boys. Thank you.
Always appreciate it. And Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio. Got a cherry to go on the top of this Wednesday edition of Halftime. This is ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
No hidden agendas on this program. You're listening to Halftime.
I'm gonna ride till I can't no more.
Jelco Outdoor says don't forget Mom this coming Sunday. Great moms deserve great gifts, and Jelco has some great deals for Mom. Get Mom a Yeti cooler and get a free Yeti gift valued at $24.99. 25% off women's casual footwear and sandals. 25% off concealed carry purses for that gun-toting mama. 25% off women's clothing. And Jelco gift cards are always a perfect fit, but just don't forget Mom. Happy Mother's Day from Jelco Outdoors in Fort Smith.
What do you get when you pull into Tony's Tire Service? You get the best selection of tires for any car, truck, or commercial vehicle. Tony's Tire Service has Cooper tires and is ready to serve you to get you back on the road safely. They'll also get your vehicle fixed with brake replacements plus an alignment with the best repair guy in the area. Tony's Tire Service has been serving the River Valley for over 34 years. Come let our guys replace your tires with Cooper tires and our service department to make sure the vehicle has the best brakes and alignments. Tony's Tire Service, 7200 South 28th Street in Fort Smith. Service you can depend on.
Hi folks, Larry Rath here with a better way to drive at Rath Auto Resources. We're out to break every record in May with the biggest Memorial Day sale ever. It's huge. It's too big for a day. It's huge. Too big for a weekend. It's huge. It's going to take all month to get this done and some of the best incentives ever. We've marked down every vehicle on the lot with discounts up to $3,300 below retail. To save even more, look for the vehicles with the green special stickers on the windshield and get state sales tax paid. If you're keeping the car you have, let our Meineke Car Care Centers take care of it for you with buy 3, get 1 free on all tires, free AC checks, and 10% off all AC work. So visit us today and take advantage of discounts up to $3,300 and state sales tax paid on select inventory during the biggest Memorial Day sale ever. It's huge at Arkansas's #1 rated and reviewed independent dealer, Rath Auto Resources, 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online, rathauto.com.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase price affects trade allowance.
Hey dads, do you have an athlete in your house that is looking to take their skills to the next level? Excel Speed Training at the Fort Smith Athletic Club has the proven results to maximize your athlete's potential. Designed for both male and female athletes of all ages and various sports to improve mobility, endurance, agility, and vertical jump. Take your game to the next level with Excel Speed Training. Call Mike Johnson at 479-926-0193. That's Mike at 479-926-0193 at the Fort Smith Athletic Club. Are you looking for a new place to call home? Whether you're looking for an apartment, duplex, townhome, or a house, Trinity Multifamily has you covered. They even have options in surrounding states, from Texas to Michigan and Kansas to Tennessee. If you're looking for a new place to call home, make Trinity Multifamily your first call at 479-452-1817. That's 479-452-1817. Or online at trinitymultifamily.com to search rental properties near you.
Auto Park in Fort Smith combines over 90 years of family-owned experience with the best sales and service teams around. And at Orr Auto Park, every new vehicle comes with a lifetime engine warranty, free maintenance for 2 years, and free car washes for the life of the vehicle. The largest selection, the biggest discounts, and the best buying experience around. These are some of the reasons why you always score more with Orr Auto Park in Fort Smith. Stop in today, or they are always open online 24/7 at OrAutoPark.com.
Joe's Grill and Cantina is the only place to watch